Night OWCP chats with Chris and Gini live from Park City again.
What's up, everybody? Park City is awesome. If you haven't come, seriously, it's God's country.
A lot of you saw our pictures when we went to Mirror Lake yesterday. Well, not yesterday, day before, and it was totally breathtaking. Everyone should always come here and go to that spot because it's really something exciting.
It was beautiful.
Yes. Chris has never been. I've never been. As long as we've lived in Utah with my family when I was younger, I've never been. So it was really exciting to go, although it's a little dangerous to go up there during the winter. But welcome, welcome, welcome. So I know we talked about CA16s and CA7s and CA17s maybe like a few weeks ago, but
and also like 100 times before that.
Yeah. The reason that I wanted to do this again tonight was because I had 18 people talk about they're filing their CA7s and they're not getting paid. Their supervisors are upset, or certain doctors don't want to fill out CA17s. And for CA16s, a lot of you still don't know what a CA16 is and where to get it. I even told Chris, the lady asked me, here's what I didn't like. Lady asked me, how does she get a CA16? I said, it has to come from your supervisor. Mm-hmm. She messaged back and told me she's not going to listen to me because her supervisor said that form does not exist.
Okay, so I want to tell you something, and everybody just needs to hear me really clear here. If your supervisor says that a form doesn't exist, your supervisor is an idiot. Whatever you say, I'm going to not listen to you. Instead, I'm listening to my supervisor. I'm not saying you're an idiot.
Don't call or message me.
I'm just saying,
I'm giving you the answer.
I'm telling you, your supervisor is for sure an idiot if they say there's no CA16. And why do you come here if you don't want the answers? So go ask the supervisor where they do like supervisor OWCP training online, and go to that, and it'll be like a circus. So tonight we're going to talk about the 16, the 17, the CA7, because all you bad information. It's unbelievable. And when you don't get a 16, your life generally spirals out of control if you have a work injury. If you don't understand your 7s, you're not getting paid. And if you don't understand what a 17 does, you can't ever get limited duty, go back to work and clock in. So tonight we're going to talk about it. And hopefully you will tell your friends that if Chris Helms said it, it's the law.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that, she messaged me and she was so upset about that she didn't get a CA16. She even opted getting COP. So
that's terrible.
But when I tried to give her the advice direct on getting a CA16 and how to get COP, she's like, it's not what the supervisor said, so you're wrong. You know what? If you think I'm going to give you the wrong answer, there's no sense in messaging me and asking me, because you're not going to take my advice
here's the other thing. And for those of you that are new, by the way,
yes,
I'm Chris.
There's a lot of new people.
We've been teaching OWCP here on everywhere that you're watching since 2016. And since 2016, how many years?
9.
Almost 9. Okay, so
it's 9 already. We started February 16th, so we passed our 9 years.
Well, math doesn't work that way, but I think it's 8. So, but the point I'm making is, in 8 years, nobody's ever come back and said, Chris, I did what you said and it didn't work.
Yeah.
So I have a thing, a bunch of things that I say. I call them Chrisisms. It's things that Chris says on a regular basis. One of those things is, that's a clue.
Yeah.
Okay. If nobody in 8, almost 9 years, has ever come back and said, Chris, but you said and it didn't work, that's a clue. So just tell your friends, if Chris said it, it's the law. Your supervisors, I promise you, they're idiots. They don't know. And I'm sure they're nice people out in like the regular world, away from work, and not having to think about the supervisors that they weren't trying to just put in position that they weren't qualified for. I'm sure when they're out of that world that they're nice folks. I mean, honestly, we know some we like
good friends of ours. And
they're actually
like that.
not jerks and
Yeah.
idiots.
And they had 4.
Yeah,
So they
and so-
understood.
And we have acted at federal injury centers, countless supervisors. In fact, we were in,
yeah.
I'm not going to say which
No,
office.
don't say which office.
But we were in an office and we had a supervisor. There was a supervisor in that office getting therapy for a work injury. And I was so tempted to say, it's all fun and how it is. But anyways, tonight we're going to talk about these forms because they're so important and because we just had somebody say, yeah, but my supervisor said.
So
we're going to have a whole talk about it.
Yeah, I'm going to say what I just said at the beginning, halfway through. So those of you that are coming on are going to hear it. But we're going to leave the best for last. So we're going to talk about CA 16 detail.
Wait, which one's the best? What are we saying for the last? Because I think the 16 is the best.
That's what I'm saying. So we say best for last.
Oh, I thought you said we're saving the last. Now we're going to talk about a CA 16.
No.
I'm sure she said that. I'll go later.
We're going to first talk about CA 17s, where, how you get it, why you get it, and everything before we move on to the next thing. In the meantime, those of you that have friends that don't have social media, you can tell them there was a link attached. You can send them to YouTube where they can see it live as well. You don't need an account on YouTube. Wednesday night, OWCP chats with Gini. You can still ask your questions there. We will be able to see them and share, or what you need to do. A lot of you will tag some of your friends. Please put the @ sign and then your friend's name, so then they'll be able to see it, because it won't work outside of that. And then somebody just said the whole darn process is very confusing. It's only confusing because 1, you don't know what to do. 2, supervisors may give you the wrong information, and it is the doctor's fault if they cannot get a claim approved. And we'll talk about that in another episode. But let's talk about the CA 17 in detail, and I'll be sharing so you could do the same too.
So we have a lot of people on tonight, and you're probably going to see some of our Federal Injury Center's franchise offices coming on. They'll come on and say hi, and some of them will interact with you, some won't. That's okay. But just know that they're here to let you know that they're there because you need them. And then there's some people that sometimes they come on like, yeah, you're kind of a scam, frauds, right?
Yes.
You get this. You wouldn't believe the hate that she gets on Facebook.
I just got cussed out last week by a guy.
You should post his name from now on. But I'm making we get a lot of this. Let your friends know that this is happening and that we're here to help. Anyways, I'm gonna get off of that because I don't want to be too hateful. But so what's a CA 17? That was a joke. She's not gonna tell me. Okay. We're gonna start with this form, the CA 17, because another criticism. The surest way to get paid is to clock in. Well, what does that mean? It means to go to work. Yes, Gini and I on the Breaking OWCP podcast with Chris and Gini. You can look that up anywhere you listen. Yesterday we recorded an episode, and I was talking about that. Like, the surest way to get paid is to clock in. And what does that mean? It means like I've been listening. I've been teaching federal employees for the better part of the last decade on OWCP. Live and events like this on social media. And the one thing I see is that, like, man, people have a misunderstanding of what it takes to get paid, and we can fix that. But we're not the company doctor. So before I start talking about all this, I am not the company doctor. I promise you, I am your supervisor's worst enemy. They hate me. Your HR, your injury comp people, they're not my fan. I'm telling you right now, and I'm not there. So I needed to say all that so I can tell you the deal. You need a CA 17 so you can get back to work. Getting back to work should be your biggest goal, because you can't stay on OWCP forever and keep your job. And everyone I've ever talked to says they want to keep their job. In fact, we just had a rural carrier the other day send us a message saying, I've been out for 2 years. What's going to happen? Well, I'd be worried about that, because they can remove your, you from your position. So what we want to do is help you get back to work so you can get paid. My friend, Rich Ray in New York, he said, Chris, I'm tired of seeing my carriers go homeless.
Yep.
Well, the number one way I can keep you from going homeless is I get you back to work. So the CA 17 is what it takes to get back to work after a work injury. So now I've said all that, you're probably all like, I want CA 17. Damn right you do. So what this does is it allows your doctor to write restrictions so you can go back to work safely. Now, going back to work safely is key because you should be getting treatment so that you can get back to work full duty without getting injured in the process. Like you go back to work and you get hurt doing the same thing you were doing before. We don't want that to happen. So the purpose of the CA-17 is so the doctor can write restrictions and get you back to work on limited duty. That's so key, but here's the deal. You got to get it from your supervisor. Your supervisor's got to give you a CA-17, and they are at least half the time going to say they don't have to give it to you. So I recommend to make it happen. The reason we think unions can push supervisors push on you. They're in your corner, right? So you got to get that CA-17, take it to the doctor. It's got to originate with your supervisor. They got to fill out side A. B says physician. Well, what comes first, A or B? So clearly it starts with the supervisor. So what you got to do is have the supervisor fill out what your job description is on side A, and your doctor will fill out what your restrictions are on side B. And if you have no restrictions, you go back to work full duty, and that's fantastic because now you're clocked in for the full 8 hours or whatever your shift is.
Right.
5 or 6 or 7 days a week, whatever it is, any given time of year, and you're getting paid. All right. But the CA-17 is what allows your doctor to write restrictions so you can go back to work and clock in. But the key to the whole thing is your claim's got to be accepted. Once your claim is accepted, your supervisor by law is required to make every possible effort to get a limited duty assignment if you can't work full duty. If your claim is not accepted, they don't have to do it. And it's like you're light duty for a little before that your claim is accepted. Everything we're about except for the CA-16 requires your claim to be, in order for the rules to kind of kick in, right? So your CA-17 goes from you to your doctor, writes restrictions or says you can go back to work full duty, and then you go back. If you have to be out of work, it's doctor's orders at all times, and get back to work as soon. Frank says we're breaking up. I'm sure it's because of the Wi-Fi in the mountains. We'll just keep going.
Yeah, we're in the mountains.
We're doing the best we can. We're up 10,000. We're 10,000 feet elevation, and it's hotel Wi-Fi. We'll do the best we can. Thanks, Frank, for letting us know. I hope it doesn't continue.
Heard about it?
17.
Okay.
Yeah, she's sharing while I'm talking, and she's got a phone, so she can't hear me.
Nicole, how do you get paid? I have been on LWOP for months, and my supervisor messed up all my time.
Skip that. Nicole Runnell said, yeah, whatever. This is all cheap talk. I've reached out to y'all before. I got the same BS. Hey, Nicole, listen, this probably isn't the place for you. We've gotten over 5,000 claims approved. We do that by being the best in the world at what we do. We love to help you. Nobody's perfect. We have people in offices that make mistakes.
Yeah.
You probably have people in the office where you work that makes mistakes. We retrain and retrain and we train and retrain until those mistakes are not there anymore. So you're here hopefully to get the help that we have. Whatever your problem is, feel free to send us a private message, and I'll be more than happy to get with that office that's making a mistake, that's causing problems, and fix it.
Unless it's not our office.
Right, and sometimes it's not, but let's assume to help. But this isn't the place to air all that. Everyone wants to get help, so I want to help you too, though.
All right, how do you get paid? I've been on LWOP for months, and my supervisor messed up my time.
So the way you get paid is you're claiming the CA-7 in a minute, right? And that's how you get paid. So hold off on that. But the key is that you're claiming. We have a good CA-7, good documentation, good diagnosis even, and I'll get into that. And then that's how it's done.
Pat Hardiman said, Dr. Harper and Bessemer has repeatedly to get my claim approved, wrote the best narrative ever. It comes straight back denied. I think the only way to ever possibly get it approved is to change it from a CA1 to a 2. If that were to work, would they still go back and pay back pay? I had to add a year in order to keep my benefits. I just have given
the book I wrote. OWCP never give up. It doesn't end until you let it end. Okay, that's very, very important. Yesterday on the podcast about some claims examiners that went rogue, that happens too. I'd want to see your whole case file. Not really. Actually, I'd like to see just the denial letter and the narrative report that was written. And then I can probably tell you it's the best I've ever seen. So like he's got 600 claims accepted, like well over 600 claims accepted, all by himself. And I'd like to help you. We're here. And our motto is no more denied claims. That's very, very serious to us. But the truth is for you and for all of you out there, and you can look this up at OSHA, only 14% of federal employees have accepted claims. 14%. Okay, that means there's a system-wide problem. At federal interest centers, it's 97%. So you're in the 3% outlier only for now. We never, ever quit. We never, ever give up. Okay, my expectation is that as long as you don't give up, you'll be part of the 97%, not the 3% anymore. I'd like to help you with that. Feel free and send us a message, and we'll do what we can. In fact, I'm talking to Dr. Harper tomorrow.
Judy Lynn, my day 17. Should I be concerned?
Well, I'd be super concerned if your union won't help you. The law requires your supervisor to issue the CA-17. There's nothing I can do to make them follow the law because I'm not a federal employee. I can't walk inside your agency and make that happen, but your union can. And, we work very closely with APW, AFG, and I can tell you that the
mail handlers.
And mail handlers, yeah. But I mean, we've recently worked very closely with the other two. And I can tell you that the people we work with will fight to the death for you. And so I think you should go to your union, see who's willing to fight for you.
Okay, so Pat says, what do I need to do next then from going to Dr. Harper? He's going to talk to Dr. Harper tomorrow.
Well, no, I just want you to send me a private message so that I have your contact information, and then I'm going to help you personally.
Nicholas said, this was asked and I wasn't sure how to answer. In section 2 of the CA7, what would be the proper selection? Or can you give us an example of each? A, leave without pay. B, leave buyback. C, other wage loss.
And D, schedule awards. So what we're talking about is leave without pay. It's if you're out of work and not getting paid, that's leave without pay. Because you left work without pay, what they're doing is saying, okay, so get paid for the time that you're out of work. But your claim's got to be accepted. Now, when I go into the CA7, I'll go in detail on that. But it's leave without pay. That's a great question.
Now I'm facing unfit for work and being denied pay from my caseworker on DOL.
Yeah, look, Nicole, these things happen. It sucks. I hate this for you. I hate it so bad you have no idea. I mean, I wrote 4 books on purpose just to help people that don't have help anywhere. Now, I put 60-something offices around the country that are trained to do this. And it's because I give a damn. Like, I really care a lot about what's happening to you. But your supervisors are idiots. Claims examiners are sometimes untrained. Nurse case managers are sometimes have bad intentions, but not always. And so we're up against a system that's really tough. And it's easy to get mad at the doctor because, oh, the doctor sucks. Well, the doctor's up against it too. I mean, we're up against it right alongside of you. And then when we go up against it with you, there's a target on our back. You think the federal government likes it that we kick their ass all day, every day? They hate it.
Right.
So again, I'm feeling your pain, but just send us a private message, Nicole, and let me help you. We're happy to help.
Yeah, a lot of you, okay. Take a time out. A lot of you are calling the 877 number, and time you guys just want okay, best it says it on there. For locations, go to www.federalinjurycenters.com. The reason I do that is because if there is a location close to you, you call and I get over 180 to 200 calls a week. And when you guys call and I'm on another call, you'll get a voicemail or a message. Try to answer if you don't, like I get, these are the messages I get when you guys call and leave messages, why I'm calling, this or that. Just leave a message and I will reach out to you, and you got to leave your phone number. When the call comes into me, it doesn't leave your number. So please don't get angry. I say it on there. The fastest way for you to get an answer is to message me. And Pat, you asked where do you private message? After the live is done, just go into the messenger from Wednesday night chats
On Facebook.
On Facebook, or you could message me privately on my Facebook page, which I get a lot, and it's fine. That's the fastest way, because if I don't know the answer, Chris is there, and I could just, hey, is this the right answer? And you'll get the answer immediately. But the phone calls take so much time. This is why I'm locations and call the case manager, because they're able to help you.
And Nicole followed up with, my supervisor is a big idiot. Agreed. I don't even know your supervisor, but I'm sure that.
And all right, let's see. Another CA 17 returned to work on sedentary duty for my CA 17, and the supervisor refused to comply with the CA 17. She also refused to put it in LWAP for me to get paid. She's making me use my AL.
You got to get with your union and file a grievance or do whatever they got to do. But I'm telling you, the union people we know will get that fixed. And unfortunately, a lot of you don't, you're not participating necessarily in the union. Like 10-20% of people, I think, really do. And a lot of you, like, shockingly, know who your reps are. I don't.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, whoops.
So, I do. As stewards, get known. Let people know that you're.
Back and forth.
Keep going.
It is just, we are up in the mountains and we are not getting the Wi-Fi that we
It's
want.
all better now.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Keep going.
Okay, we're freezing.
Yeah, we're back. It's back. I know. We're on a delay over here. It's a delay in the messages. Keep going.
Oh, see, everybody, we lost
Keep
you.
going, please.
All right, so let's talk about the CA7. Just the other day, video just dropped out. Just the other day, I had somebody say, I sent in my CA7 and I'm not getting paid. My first question to you guys always is going to be, was your claim accepted? If your claim isn't accepted, there's no need to set them out and keep them.
Definitely.
Says you will not get paid. And the lady said, well, I did get my claim accepted. I said, can I see the denial? It was just a letter, just her claim number saying that DOL received her CA1 or CA2.
So it indicate accepted. It means they've got your information and they stuck it in, so to speak. And that file cabinet has a number on it. It's a 9-digit number. That's you. But that number does not mean that okay, it just means they got it, right? Your supervisor did a job that they're supposed to do, and they received the info. A lot of people misunderstand that. Like, well, I got a claim number, so why am I not getting paid?
Right.
The claim numbers are just file holders. That's all they are. You've got to get your claim accepted. Okay, that's why federal injury centers even exist. Okay, I said earlier, 14% of claims are accepted nationwide. 97% of federal injury centers claims are accepted. That's why you come here. And I'm proud to say that. Like 97% is a huge number. You kidding me? But so you've got to find a doctor, even if it's not us, that can get your claim accepted. Now that's a whole episode of on its own, how to get a claim accepted, because it's not. We may make it look easy, but it's not. Okay, it really takes a lot of work, even for us to get a claim accepted. But let's just say it is accepted. Well, then you file your CA7s every couple of weeks, because I read a letter from a claim examiner once that said that they wanted you to do it every 2 weeks, so you get paid regularly. So definitely do that. But the thing is let's say you fill it out perfectly. LWAP, by the way, leave without pay. And you may have to fill out a CA7A, a time analysis form, which is like it delineates between what's annual leave, what's sick leave, what's LWAP, what's time on the clock, right? They want you to do that because somehow the computer systems for federal agencies don't just automatically do it. So they want you to do that. And I don't think it's fair, but I always say, Chris says OWCP is not about fairness. Okay, it is what it is. So you got to do the thing. But then once you fill out the CA7 perfectly, on by the way, supervisor's got to do page 2. I strongly recommend that you go take a look at it. Okay, because some people say I'm not getting paid right. Well, it's because your supervisor put the wrong pay information in. So make sure it's all correct. You have an opportunity to go look at it and then call your claims examiner and say, hey, there's a problem here, or write a letter to the claims examiner, or leave a voicemail with the claims examiner that will turn into a written document,
Right.
that they have to read. And then from there, you have to attach documentation. If you just turn in a perfect CA7, you won't get paid. Well, that's not fair. Well, I just said it's not about fairness. It's not fair at all. You should be able to turn in a perfect CA with an accepted claim and get paid. But that's not how it works. So if your doctor took you off of work, write this down. If your doctor took you off of work, you need a CA17, right? We talked about that the first. So attach a copy of the CA17. But Chris, they already have it. I know. But it's your money. What do you want to do? Attach a copy of the CA17. Okay, well, now what? Well, there's a form called a CA20. All right, it's like a medical narrative. Your doctor fills that out. It explains what's going on. But Chris, they accepted the claim with a narrative report. I know. Fill out a CA20. And then lastly, the doctor needs to write what we call a disability narrative, explaining medically why you have to be off of work as a result of the information in the CA18 and 20. Well, that's not fair. All the information's there. I know. But I want you to get paid. That's what it takes. And if you're off of work because you had to go to the doctor, then you attach a copy of your the doctor. You attach a piece of the documentation, your odds of getting paid go through the roof. And that's what we want.
Okay, Marie Knoll said, I've done 5 CA7s. Letter from DOL telling me I'm not to file anymore until notified, because the post office HR still hasn't sent them correct pay information.
That's the second page of CA7, and it's not rocket science. If you look at the top of the second page, it's there. So you probably want to communicate with your supervisor if that's not too painful, and I know it can be, and make sure that the documentation is correct that they put on the second page of the CA7. And if they won't do it, you have a union, and that's what they're for. They're there to protect you, to support you, to represent you. So get some help.
Maria said, I drive 4 hours round trip to see the doctor. I was getting paid for being out, but all of a sudden I was denied. As a rural carrier, we can't take a part of the day off like other crafts.
Yeah, so I think your doctor is going to have to put that role in their narrative report explaining that you have to take the whole day off. They won't let you take a portion of the day off. And it's not fair, but again, it's OWCP. It's not going to be. And because there are a lot of new claims examiners, too, that don't know the role. So it's helpful to put the roles in the narrative report. And if the doctor doesn't know them, you can supply the role.
What other CA17s and CA7 questions do you have right now before we go on to the most important form you can possibly?
Yeah, ask your questions right now, because when I start talking about the CA16, if you blow me up with questions, you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
Because it's the most important form I think you can get.
So I have any more messages here. One comment here.
Anybody? Bueller.
Hey, John. John Reverend said, what up, Chris and Gini?
What up, John?
John, I'm still waiting for an invite. And you skipped out on us last time we came to St. Louis.
Dude.
Okay, when we go over all of this and you guys get frustrated that you weren't told this, I didn't know this. This is why we have this Facebook page, and we have on YouTube, and we have it on Instagram and TikTok. This is why we want you to, we're not trying to do anything to be famous. It's because no one's going to
speak for yourself.
I don't want to be famous, but no one else is going to tell you this information. And we know
if they were going to, they would have done it already.
We've asked so many, when we've gone to trainings, that no, they don't. When we go to orientation, they just tell you, okay, if you get injured, file your OWCP, and they give you basic stuff. That's it. They don't tell you that you're going to need a CA16. They don't tell you you're going to, what you have to do once you get your claim accepted. They don't tell you that what should we do if the supervisor doesn't fill out or give us a CA17. So this is why we tell you to get on here to learn this stuff. And we're breaking it down into fourth grade language. It doesn't get any simpler than this.
And that's not because you're dumb.
No.
That's because it's complicated as hell.
It is.
Okay. You wouldn't believe how much I had to read to get this. Mike Smith said, does the injury description on the CA-17 have to match the CA-1? And the answer is not necessarily. Okay. Let me explain why. Now, if the only accepted condition is on the CA-1, then absolutely yes. But Mike, the answer is the diagnosis on the CA-17 has to match the accepted conditions. And you could have a diagnosis expansion 6 months later, 3 years later, 10 years later, okay? Your CA-7 will still have to match the approved conditions from your case file.
And then he also said, my injury claim specialist filled it out, but left the last part of my injury description from the CA-1.
So there's a thing in medical called ICD-10, ICD-10, and those are diagnosis codes. If those codes are on there and they match your case file, that's okay too. If none of that is on there, that's a mistake.
Maria said, you should be famous. This way we wouldn't be going through this craziness.
Maria, you've been with us for a long time. Thanks for saying that.
Sherry Burchell, I just got my claim accepted. It says medically only. Can I still file a CA-7?
Yeah, so it says medical only because the doctor hasn't yet said why you have to be out of work. As soon as the doctor does the disability narrative, the CA-17, the CA-20, and you attach it to a CA-7, that'll open that up for pay to be off of work. So they're just following the plan. The plan right now is just for you to help. Nobody's told them you need to be off of work yet. So it's not approved for compensation.
Oh, this is a cute name. Adventures of Mia and Gucci. I used to use a CA-17, and instead I started using the OWCP 5C because a nurse at my agency told me it is the one that OWCP prefers. The good thing about the OWCP 5C is that the supervisor doesn't.
But not sure if it was appropriate advice. Okay. Yeah. So that's not appropriate advice. I'll tell you, if it's working, keep doing it. Never stop doing anything that works. But the OWCP 5C isn't the primary thing that does restrictions, takes you off of work, and puts you back to work. So the 5C gives a lot more information. It's like a physical performance test. It has amazing information, but the CA-17 is what's needed. With that said, if the 5C is working, please don't stop.
She said, yes, it's working.
Yeah, don't stop. But for all the rest of you, a CA-17 is the way it goes. Whoever she's got talking to her doesn't understand the rules, but it's working. Continue.
Once CV2562 says, once the CA-17 is completed, then your boss gives you a job offer. Doesn't it first need to be seen by your claims examiner, then your doctor before signing it for acceptance or denial?
Wait, read that again? That was a lot.
Here.
Which one is it?
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, read it again.
Once the CA-17 is completed, then your boss gives you a job offer. Doesn't it first need to be seen by your claims examiner, then your doctor before signing it before accepted or denied? Okay,
that's super smart. So we're talking about limited duty offers. So we kind of shifted gears a little, and that's fine. So let's say you turn in CA-17 and it says you have restrictions and your case is accepted, and they're required now to make every effort to give you a limited duty offer. Well, at that point, with your case being accepted, then they've got to give a copy to you and to your claims examiner. Your claims examiner, by rule, has to notify you that they think that there is a valid offer, at which point the claims examiner gives you 30 days with which to review with your doctor. That's how that's supposed to go. Your supervisors screw that up every single time. And it's in my book, The 25 Things You Can Do to Win an OWCP. And you can actually find the exact rules in the Code of Federal Regulations for that.
Victor said, Gini and Chris, hello, beautiful. Then he said, stupid advisor. And then he said, CA-16 is the best. Then he said, in USPS, once an injured employee submits a CA-17, management needs to provide a PS form 2499.
Yeah, well, that's for the postal employees. Okay, the PS 2499, I think, only applies to USPS. That's exactly right. Diana. So for all of you that are like AFGE agency members, like that probably doesn't apply to you.
All right, my phone just went blank. Okay.
Fantastic.
Diane, read that, Diane Ramirez. Please.
In our district only, specialists can answer page 2 on the CA7 and econ. If we see an employee has sent it to their supervisor, we reroute it to the specialist. Okay, Diane, all I can say is if that's working for the people, please don't stop. But all I care about is what works for the people. That's all I care about. That some agencies and some like local little areas do things different because maybe they don't understand the rules exactly like maybe I do. That's okay. If it's working out for the people, that's fine. But I just, I want it to work out for everybody. And the best way is for everyone to just follow the rules as written.
Mike Smith, I think I need to call one of the centers. I never received a CA16 and have been getting the runaround 21 days since the injury, and I keep getting the runaround. Yikes.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So what should he do?
That he keeps getting the runaround?
Yeah, because he hasn't received a CA 16. We're gonna get to the CA 16.
Well, we're not in the 16 yet, but the answer is go to your union and file grievance.
DeWanda Brown. The OWCP 5C is used when you reach MMI and only has to be filled out once a year, but OWCP will come with shenanigans and request updated restrictions.
Well, yeah. Yes. Okay. And when my answer wasn't like an indication that you said something stupid. It's just that there's somebody stupid in this line that's making you have to ask that question. But I mean, yeah, that's right. That's right. But man, just do the right job up front.
Ruby Mills. How are you, Ruby?
Ruby.
I was injured on the job and my claim was accepted, but I'm lost in the process. I injured my neck and I'm sure it was my lower back too, but they only did the neck and foot. Can I get the lower back added?
Any legitimate condition, and I'm not suggesting yours isn't, but I'm teaching here. Any legitimate condition that resulted from a legitimate work injury can be added to an accepted claim using a diagnosis expansion. Your doctor has to write a new narrative report with new medical information explaining how that lumbar diagnosis is part of the existing accepted condition.
Correct.
That's called a diagnosis expansion. That's a really smart question.
Let's see.
At some point, we got to talk about 16.
Yeah, we're going to. Diane Ramirez, you guys are great. Aw, thank you. Okay, now we're going to talk about the CA16, and these are especially for all the 18 of you that have messaged me within this week and are very upset.
18?
Yeah.
You told me about one person.
No, it was 18 people.
Good Lord, everybody write this down and tell your friends.
Yeah, because it was her with her friends.
So she has 17 friends?
In the postal field, in the postal world.
She has more friends than I do.
So sad. So sad. Even Victor's not your friend.
I don't make a lot of friends in this business. Even some of you get mad at me.
Yeah. Okay. So for all the new people, this is not bashing you because you don't know. You didn't know until I asked you, because here was the question. I heard that you guys teach about a form that you use prior to getting your narrative accepted. Yes. And it only can be done on a CA1 claim, which these folks did have a CA1 claim. If you had a CA2 that they couldn't get one from. So the CA16 is a huge, huge thing. Let's get into it.
All right. So when I go teach this stuff live in front of a live audience, I always say that there's two things that if you don't do exactly right, can cause financial disaster in your life. Thing one is actually thing two, but I'll say it first, is not electing continuation of pay. Because when you don't get COP, you have no way to pay all your time off. And I was just talking to somebody who said, but in fact, it was a comment made in the last live event we did in San Francisco.
Right.
And they said, but what if I'm out of COP? No, that was at Tampa, the BOP.
BOP. Yeah.
What if you're out of COP or out of annual and sick leave? Oh, well, that's a problem. And he was saying, well, just like hold some back. Well, that's not always feasible. And I don't disagree with him. Like, actually, I think that's really smart. But you're holding some annual leave or sick leave back in case you get sick. How do you predict that? Or in case you get hurt, I should say. How do you predict that? So that's pretty tough. I like the concept. I mean, a lot, actually, because it'd be nice to have the option. But a senior claims examiner, who we like very much, who's like super smart guy, and an AFGE president, by the way, said that everybody should elect COP, continuation of pay, because then everybody has a chance to get 45 days of time paid. And the worst case scenario is they come back and they take your sick and annual leave. Of course, based on what the BOP guy said, that's not always possible. They may deduct it from your paycheck if you don't have sick and annual. So I get that. Okay, so that's two sides. You had this claims examiner, AFGE, and you had this OWCP expert at BOP. That I think they agree, but you got to have the sick and annual leave. But the point I'm making is there's two things that happen that if you do it wrong can really hurt you financially. One is not electing COP. So let me just very briefly tell you that on a CA1 form, box 15, letter A is COP. And if you elect it and your claim's not accepted, they're going to go and take your sick and annual leave. But if your claim is accepted, they won't. Now, if you go to federal injury centers, 97% of claims are approved. The other 3% are in progress, and we don't like to lose, so we don't give up. That means as long as your claim is in process, meaning it's on appeal, then you don't have to pay back your COP. Just as I said in the 25 things, never give up. So COP is one of the things you got to do. But the other thing is a CA16. What I see is that people don't get their CA16s. Their supervisors refuse to give it. They say they don't know how to do it. They act dumb, they play dumb, or they are dumb. Okay? And what is a CA16? It's good that you asked. A CA16 pays all of your medical bills, your therapy bills, your surgery bills. They pay all those bills for the first 60 days after a CA1 injury.
Your prescriptions, your MRIs.
They pay for everything that's medically necessary after a CA1 claim, as long as you reported your CA1 within 7 days. Now, you should report it today. It shouldn't take you 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 days to report an injury. Just report it now. Even if you're not going to seek medical attention, report the injury, right? Report it now. Now, as long as you report it now, you're eligible for your CA16, and by the way, for COP as well. Because I should say, a COP, you got to report within 30 days. But forget that. It's 30 days for COP, 7 days for CA16. But as long as you report today, it doesn't matter. You met all your timelines, right? But once you report your CA1 claim on time, which is today, and you get your CA16, it pays all your bills related to your injury for the first 60 days. Now, who understands that in 60 days, most of your injuries can be resolved, and you'll never have to pay out of pocket, which is awesome. But most of your supervisors say they don't have to give it to you, or that your injury is not bad enough, or that they don't know what a CA16 is, or they don't know how to find one.
Or they just refuse to give you one.
Or they just refuse to give you one. Now, in all these cases, file a grievance. I tell this every time I'm speaking live in front of 100, 200 people, right? Is that if all of you file grievances on CA16s, every time they broke the rules, they'd stop breaking the rule. Because grievances come with financial penalties. How many financial penalties does the agency want before they start following the law? I don't know what the answer is yet because you're not doing it enough. So file more grievances. Now, I'm going to have somebody on management side that's be like, oh, I hate Chris Moore. Get in line, okay? Get in line, okay? The target on my back is bigger than my body. But I'm telling you, a CA16, you got to get it because it pays your bills. Now, imagine you get hurt and you don't have a CA16. Who's going to pay your bills? You. You're going to use your health insurance. Now, follow me on this. You'll use your health insurance, which means you're going to pay copays. If you need surgery, you're going to pay a deductible, and that's going to be thousands of dollars. But what's the other downside? And she's the one that told me this. I hadn't actually thought of it yet until a couple of years ago, is that when you file on your health insurance, your claims are going to go up. Like not your claims, but your premiums. What you pay for health insurance goes up when health insurance gets used more. So let's say a whole bunch of you have like knee replacements. You think your health insurance is going to cost more next year? Yes. Insurance companies are in the business of making money, not losing it. So not getting a CA16 causes all kinds of chaos. And it's all happening because you're not pushing back when management pushes you.
Yep.
Get a CA16 every time you file your CA1 claim within 7 days, which means today. get it. And if they don't give it to you, get your union involved and get help. Make it happen. You got to have a CA-16. I can't tell you how critically important it is. I've never seen anybody with a CA-16 and a COP that didn't have a positive outcome in their injury claim, period. So with that, I'll open it to questions.
All right. So, Victor, you asked what this NTEU means. National Treasury Employees Union. It houses 35 agencies under them. So that's what that means. I think it's like federal police and all of those people, federal firefighters. Mike Smith, if I'm right, let me know. But I know it houses 35 agencies under them.
National Treasury, that's like, am I wrong that that's also Secret Service? I think the Treasury Department's Secret Service, but I think that's interesting. Anyways, go ahead.
Arlene said, this might be off subject, but hello. What do you do if your physician and a FCE report states you have a certain and you are offered a modified job because you can no longer do your higher job, and your physician says he feels suitable, but OWCP says they are going with what their second opinion doctor's report says? Does a person have to accept the position that will or could cause more damage to my condition? Thank you.
So that's so problematic, and
Yes.
I think that's a flaw. I mean, it's one of the many flaws in the system. But second opinion visits is like another whole like episode all by itself, and we've done that, so you can look back at it. But I'm going to still answer your question. Second opinion doctors rule unless your doctor writes better medical information. So if their documentation is better than the second opinion doctors, they win. Second opinion's better, second opinion wins. If they seem even to the claim examiner, it goes to what's called a referee doctor. The referee doctor then is charged with making a decision. Guess whose decision rules? Is it fair? I didn't say it's fair. It's not fair. But you do have to accept limited duty offers that are valid, and second opinion visits and referee doctor visits are included in what is valid, even though we disagree.
Yolanda Mack, is a diagnosed expansion done for consequential injury as well?
Oh, great question. Actually, thanks for asking that. So consequential injury is like, let me just give a really, really simple example. I have a bad right knee. As a result, I'm limping. The bad right knee is a work injury that's accepted. Now I'm limping. Now my left hip hurts. Well, if I was never limping, my left hip would never hurt as a result of the work injury. So that left hip is now a consequential injury. It happened because of the other injury. A diagnosis expansion is like, that knee hurts. It's approved for a sprain. Now it's approved. But later on we get an MRI and find out there's a ligament tear. So we add a new diagnosis to that knee called ligament tear. That's an expansion. It's a new diagnosis added to the sprain. They're two different things.
Sherry said, I have to see if I had the CA-16. My caseworker kept saying she had 90 days to approve my case, and they were denying my bills until now that it is approved at 86 days. Finally going to therapy.
And ask them to show you in writing in the rules where it says they have 90 days. And by the way, if you get that, please email it to me.
Yes, let us know.
Chris at Federal Injury Centers, with an S on the end, Chris at federalinjurycenters.com. If they can show you in writing where there's a rule that says 90 days, please, for the love of God, show it to me, because I've heard this so many times and nobody has ever been able to produce any documentation. And I've read everything and I haven't seen anything that says that.
I'm laughing at John. He said new word medical.
What did he say?
Said new word medical because he said medical.
You're welcome, John.
Oh, I got to get that. Mike said, not sure about Secret Service, but Department of Homeland Security, definitely.
That's cool, though.
Diane James. Oh, see, this is where people get confused. Is the CA-16 the receipt you receive when you get a CA-1?
Okay, so the receipt is like an old rule. And I was reading the old rule again. And I realized they haven't changed it yet. But now that we're doing it, so a receipt, let me go backwards. In the olden days, prior to 2021, I believe, prior to 2021, we did all of our CA1s and CA2s on paper, and then we scanned it and e-comped it from there. Or we mailed it, which was crazy. But for those of you that do mail for a living, it's not that crazy, and I wish they did more mail. But now we have technology. But before we did it on paper, and there was a document that was a part of the CA1 that was called a receipt or notice of receipt.
Yes.
But you don't need that now. Now you e-comp it, and the notice of receipt is a timestamp that says the date and time that you uploaded it. So you don't need that notice of receipt anymore because the e-comp system keeps track of it.
Cheryl, I have been going to the same doctor for 5 years, which that's pretty crazy.
Well, unless it's
5
ours,
years.
and I love it now. So keep reading.
5 years.
Keep going.
In order to get in with the doctor 5 years ago, I had to drive to Dallas, which is an hour and a half. Now they're saying they cannot reimburse my mileage because it's been too far, though they've been paying my mileage for the last 5 years. What can be done about this?
Very little. So the rule is that they'll pay you up to 100 miles round trip, and you can choose any doctor you want, but they don't have to pay anything over 100 miles. And what I see all the time is if it's 101, they'll just say, okay, we're not going to pay you. I believe, and this is just a personal belief, I believe this has to be rolled on an ECAB. And I think we should talk to Attorney Eric about that.
We'll bring him on and talk about that.
I think that I'm not bringing him on talking about Eric Blowers contradicts me more than my wife contradicts me. Okay. And she contradicts me about what's for breakfast and she doesn't eat it. So Eric contradicts me even more than that. And he's my friend. So I'm not sure what he's going to say about it, but I do want to talk to him about it. I'm not going to just bring him on blindly and go, oh, Eric, so here's what I think. What do you think? He's like, nah, I don't think so either.
We'll have the debate of Chris and Eric.
He wins those debates. But I think it's going to have to go to ECAB and have a ruling so that they'll stop doing that. Because let's say you drive 101 miles, then reimburse me for the 100. That's what always frustrates me.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to reimburse you for any of it because it's more than 100. But the rule says you can reimburse me up to 100 miles. I drove 50. Give me my 100. Somebody's going to have to fight that. And maybe you. Maybe you.
You know, we tell you a lot when this was happening quite a lot. We tell you, do like a map quest from where you're going. Like say it's from your office to the doctor's office, or if it's from your home to the doctor's office, and then show them, okay, yeah, like Chris said, if it's 115 miles, okay, can you just pay me for the 100?
Maybe do this.
Yeah.
So you're not all Excel experts, but let's say that you could just like with a pen and paper, and you write 100 miles, then another miles, and then discount 50, pay me for the 100. Like, I don't know what the problem is. If the rule is 100, the rule is 100. Well, we don't want you going to another state. Well, then help us find doctors. Let me tell you something. I've been looking for doctors for the last, how long?
9 years.
9 years. And I've only got 60. It's hard. And it's hard to find doctors that will do this because the government makes it hard for doctors to do the job. And like, you have to drive across state lines all the time to get help. And then they won't pay you to drive. This system's broken.
And then they tell you, oh, just go to some walk-in clinic that has no clue.
And will definitely get your claim denied.
Yeah.
For sure. So you have to, and let me just close the loop on this. You may not get paid for your miles, okay? But another criticism, the pain of the drive is often far less than the pain of a denied claim. So you just got to weigh it out. Like, what's worse, the denied claim or driving and not getting paid? And I don't want you to have a denied claim or to drive without getting paid. But my job is to get your claim accepted. So you got to decide personally what's best for you.
Yep. Holly, if you have an accepted OWCP claim and working a limited duty job, can your case be closed if you haven't been to the doctor for over a year? Can you go see a doctor if your case is closed? Thank you. And I got a lot of messages on this too.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you this. Don't. So this person's out of work?
If you have an accepted OWCP claim and in working limited duty.
But you haven't gone back to the doctor.
Right.
Don't do that. So let me tell you why don't do that. Now, it's probably not your fault. Your doctor probably didn't schedule you for a follow-up appointment. That probably happened. And if the doctor doesn't schedule you for a follow-up appointment, why the hell would you go? I don't go to the doctor when I don't have to go.
Right.
And so you don't know you have to go. But here's why you do have to go. Because the doctor has to do constant follow-up reevaluations to see what your status is so they can make new CA-17s and potentially get you back to work full duty. And that's what the government wants. is to get you back full duty. So for all of you out there, don't let your doctor abandon you, and don't abandon your doctor.
Robert, you asked, are we familiar with the USPS EEOC NRP lawsuit? So I saw that come up on a few of the USPS. I see people talking about it. That's
so
what I meant
national
to say.
Something program reassessment.
Yeah. So
I can't remember what the R is.
I don't know what's going on, and
It's kind of old. It's been around.
you know, there's nothing that we can do. Oh, and speaking of EEOs, a lot.
But yes, we've heard.
Yeah, we can file our office. They can't do that for you. Our offices cannot file your EEO for you.
I'd really like to read Kathy.
Okay,
Kathy Kemp. So don't let me.
I'm a bit disturbed by how some agencies are so negligent towards their people. Shaking my head. John, in AFGE, we hear it too, but USPS gets hit harder for some odd reason.
Well, and the thing is, John, even your agency's got problems. The thing is like there's not enough John Reverends out there to stop it.
Right.
So like kudos to you, but there's just not enough of you out there to stop it.
I love what Maria said. Denied claims are definitely worse than the drive. She is absolutely right. Chris has said this. I know.
Yeah, but Maria, you had to drive way further than I even wanted. But I'm glad it worked out. I hated that.
I remember at one time
I know.
we had people drive from South Carolina to Clairvaux 2 weeks. And you know what? They got accepted, and that was what was important to them.
Yeah.
Kathy. And my doctor was the head of neurology at GW Hospital and brought my case to justice following brain surgery.
So Kathy, the main reason I wanted to say that is I got to meet that doctor.
Yes.
That's a guy or girl, whoever it is, that I needed to know like 5 years ago. So I'd love to be contacted with that person. Because if you have a doctor who specializes in brain surgery, that's somebody that I can use to help a lot of people.
Holly, so can you go see a doctor if your case is closed?
So can you go see your doctor?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So look, we get at federal injury centers, we take accepted claims, closed claims, denied claims, claims that haven't been reported yet. If you can imagine a kind of claim we take it except for illegitimate claims.
Right.
But we're able to see if they are or aren't. And
the doctor will see that.
And the good news is, like the illegitimate claims that I've seen weren't on purpose. They're just like because you're not trained about OWCP, so you don't know what it is. But we take closed claims too because getting a closed claim reopened is easy.
Yeah. At least for federal injury centers.
Well, it's easy when you know how to do it. It's easy. And I can't say here, it wouldn't be a good use of our time for me to train that now, right. Like how to get it. But the bottom line is it's like medical necessity. If it's medically necessary to open it again, it can be.
Ruby Mills said they assigned a nurse for 3 or 6 months and then they assign a new one, but I haven't heard from the new one yet and it's been a couple months. What happens if you don't hear from one?
Celebrate. Okay, that's not fair. But if you listen
what?
But if you listen to my podcast from yesterday, that's not published yet, but it is live at the Breaking OWCP Facebook page. Sometimes nurse case managers get in the way. And you have to have them removed. And sometimes they're awesome, and you hope they never leave. But when they're not there, the doctor's in charge solely, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. Mary said, without them, I don't know where my family picked me up. Maybe in a funeral. Salute to all of you. Thank you very much for all. Oh, you're saying that about federal injury centers. How sweet. Mary, you've been with us a very long time.
And we are not ready to go to your funeral, so enough of that.
I hear some birds in the background in your live chat. Yeah, because we have the window open and there's this, a whole wall. It's a whole wall window. So all the natural light you're seeing is coming in from this big, giant window with the windows open. Yeah,
it's just a lot of birds here. There's no snow, so they got birds.
There is some snow.
Yeah.
Victor, I know you said you were going to let us know about this EEO hearing thing. Yes. When we get back home next week, I want to give you a call.
We're actually going to bring you on live.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that.
Jennifer, if your employer accepted your case as aggravated issues, then their second opinion doctor states that my injury was resolved. 2 years after a prior injury, are they still liable?
So they, in this case, for all of you, is OWCP. And I don't know. Look, that's loaded in ways that you don't understand. It's not your fault. But the number one reason that's loaded is because the most accepted claims, remember, 14% of people have accepted claims, except for federal and 10%. But 14% of everybody else has accepted claims. And the reason, like, most of those accepted claims are like sprain strain. The vast majority of claims are easy diagnoses. I'm not a doctor. I could probably write a report and get those accepted. And so when you have a sprained strain, they're like not going to leave those open long. Remember being a kid and you sprained your ankle playing basketball on the blackboard or like playing soccer at recess, and just like magically 3 days later it felt better? Well, that's what your claims examiners think too. Like, why is this still happening?
Right.
So most of the problem is your diagnosis. Is that like your diagnosis is just bad because your doctor is lazy.
Yeah. Marcus, no, Eric doesn't handle EEOC cases, but if you message me with your number,
we'll find somebody who does.
And I will ask him to give me an attorney that can help you, and he'll definitely do that. That's what he can do.
So the good news is, between us and Eric, we know every lawyer that does this.
Yeah.
So just send us your private information.
Emma, I had shoulder surgery in 21. The same year I retired. My shoulder is still hurting. The doctor got an MRI in January 24 and has a tear again. Would that be an expansion? Thank you.
I don't know. Would it be an expansion? I don't know. Is the tear a new injury? I don't know. Is it the same injury and now we just realize there's a tear? Now it's an expansion. It's tough to know that, Emma. I'd like to be able to answer that, but man, there's some blanks. But if you send us a private message, we're happy to get somebody to help you with that.
Oh, Sunil says, Kayla says hi.
Sunil's our son. Kayla's his girlfriend. Hello. Nice to see you. Haven't seen him in a while. It's our oldest son. Hi, Sunil.
This is what John Reverend had to say.
What up, John?
You already said that to him.
I said it again.
If your leadership isn't doing their obligations, which is supporting you, go to the OIG.
So can I just...
That's what John said.
John's who I'm thinking John is. I'm not getting him wrong. TSA. Okay.
Yeah.
John's a supervisor.
Now.
Let me tell you something. He's like, when it comes to supervisors, my hero.
He used to be TSA president.
But this guy came out and said, I am who I am. And so he's telling you how to beat management.
Yeah.
So do what he says. Thank you so much, John. And I'm sorry if I called you out too much, but I just think that's freaking amazing. We have a few supervisors, just so you know, a few supervisor friends that were Indians before they were union leaders. And, you know, because of their circumstances, I don't know John's, I'm not even speaking for him, but some of the other ones I do know, decided that, you know, for their family, it was better to be in management. And those people have been fantastic. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. That's why I can't bash all management. It's hard to bash everyone because I know John. Like, I can't bash him. He loves everybody.
Right.
Anyways, thank you, John.
He also said limited duty is 45 days and can be extended.
Of course. Yeah.
He also said, will it be beneficial to fill out all forms beginning in CA, regardless of the injury or illness caused by the individual's work environment? Also, to always apply for continuation of pay.
We'll always apply for COP. Sick and annual leave. You're no worse off than if you take COP and they take it from you later.
Right.
But I wouldn't say fill out all the forms because, like, I wouldn't fill out CA 1 and 2. But I like the point. The point is, like, get it done. Get it done. Do all the things. Our friend, do all the things.
Do all the things. Yep. Let's see. What else? What else we got here? Issue with Department of Labor reason he won't be interested in consulting further with anyone in the labor.
Very frustrating.
Maybe talk to him.
I don't know.
Clint Nick, someone please bless me with something to feed my kids. They have gone.
Keep reading.
Okay. I'm going to be deleting that and
keep reading.
Hold on. I'm reporting that.
Keep reading it.
Oh, it was a spam.
Oh, yeah. You know what, Clinton, get the hell out of here. Unless that's real, what my Cash App is.
Yeah. We don't do Cash App on
I
here.
almost felt sorry. And would have solved the problem.
All right. Dr. Cooper said, no problem. If it was an expansion, it would have been visible on the initial MRI prior to surgery. Exactly.
Sorry, that last one threw me off.
Yeah, we're not cash apping.
Dr.
anybody
Cooper,
here.
thank you. And by the way, this is Dr. Cooper. He's in Forest Park, Atlanta. You can see the airplanes land at the airport. He's also in Phoenix City, Alabama, which is right by Columbus, Georgia. And Dr. Cooper's always here helping. So, Coop, thanks so much for that. That guy threw me off. I got emotional
that's
for a
why
minute.
I kept saying I'm deleting it. You're just like, read it. I've already read it before you have. Marcus said, LOL, Chris, you're crazy.
Oh, that pisses me off.
All right, Lynn Ivy, how long is the wait for adjudication? I got injured last March, and until now, I haven't received physical therapy. What?
Okay,
Because I'm still waiting for approval?
All right, so
Yikes.
Lynn, I don't know where you're located, and it's not your fault. I just have to say, because other people are listening, at Federal Injury Centers, Dr. Cooper will tell you this, we start people treated today, like now. Yeah, Coop, I'll give you your cash. But we start treating people now. We don't care about the money. Like OWCP will pay us when we do a good job. And we always do a good job. Somebody won't treat you until, how long do I wait? I got injured last March, and until now, I haven't received physical therapy. You're at the wrong place.
Yeah, our offices do physical therapy as soon as they're ready.
But the answer to the question is adjudication takes as long as it takes. There's no rules. And that's what's frustrating. But like I said, it's not about fairness. There's no rules. So what do you have to find? An office, a doctor like Cooper, who will just start treating you off the faith, for him, good faith, that everything's getting approved and don't worry about it. But even at Federal Injury Centers, if your case never gets approved, you never get a bill. We work for free. That means we screwed up.
And every one of our doctors on here can attest.
And Dr. Cooper's here. He knows if we don't ever get paid, that means we screwed up. That shouldn't hurt you. We're going to get you better.
Donna, I'm trying to figure out your message, but not all of it came through. It says, I messed up. I did not realize that when I was given a referral to a specialist, the person that did that was not a...
There's something missing.
Yeah, there's something missing. So if you could just finish it. And, Lynn, you're in Fayetteville, North...
Fayetteville. You're not from the South.
No, I'm not.
It's Fayetteville.
I'm from here, Utah.
Fayetteville.
Fayetteville.
It's not Fayetteville.
Well, I mean...
If it was if North Carolina was Fayetteville, it'd be Fighateville.
Oh, okay.
It'd be I wouldn't even say the word.
So
It's Fayetteville.
we do have, I know it's far. We do have an office in Charlotte that you could go see.
And Greenville, South Carolina. Because I don't know where Fayetteville is in North Carolina, but it might be closer to Greenville, South Carolina.
Fayetteville. Let's see what else.
Holly Spencer, come to Minnesota, Gini. We get snow. Look,
There is actually snow here in Utah. We were just in it 2 days ago, and then today we saw another set.
And John said he lived in Fayetteville, 82nd Airborne. What's up, John? 82nd Airborne. Thank you for your service,
yes,
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have a lot of friends and family in Minnesota. Let's see here.
Mike, if there's no light duty available at my workplace and I'm out of work, do I fill out a CA7 for all the time off following the 45-day COP? Yes. But remember, your claim's got to be accepted to get paid.
Yes.
And you got to attach all that documentation I said to get paid. So don't forget that.
Yeah. And you know what? Tonight I noticed there was a ton of new people, which is awesome because you guys are wanting to learn federal work comp, all the rules, laws, and regulations. So that's great.
Is a ton like 10,000 pounds? That's math, I know. That's a lot of people.
Anyway, for the new people, you can always find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and YouTube.
And wherever you hear a podcast at the Breaking OWCP podcast with Chris and Gini.
Ruby said, do you have anything close to Kansas?
We do. We have one in Kansas City, Missouri.
Missouri, yeah.
And we love them very much. So
Yeah.
I would be very proud if you went.
Dr. Pearson, she's awesome. She's fun. She's so fun. I just saw her video yesterday. It was awesome.
Don't ever go to her office unless you want to have the time of your life.
Anxiously awaiting for an FIC in Arkansas. We are working
Oh my
on
goodness
it.
gracious. We had 3 failed. So failed means we're trying. Okay. We will keep going.
John.
Is a shit ton the same as a FUK ton.
So confused.
So John, it's not okay. So the I don't want to get censored, but the F ton is somewhat more than the shit ton.
Oh my gosh.
Now
Smith,
a ton is a ton, but not in this case.
Mike Smith, we actually have a location in Orlando.
We really do, and they're
and
awesome.
they have, I don't know how many cases approved already, but
Almost all of them.
Yeah, you want to
97%.
contact Dr. Dorfman. So if anybody is looking for any locations, please go to www.federalinjurycenters.com, click the red button that says locations, and all of them are there. And as we get new locations, we will add them on there. I also, put it out there that, welcome to whatever. Like we have a new one in Daytona Beach, Florida.
What's
Dr.
up,
Steflik.
Dr. Steflik? Let's go.
We also have another new location in Mobile, Alabama. So all
Dr. Harper, Mobile, let's go.
all those role carriers out in Mobile that we were with years ago, we finally
You guys
brought
remember that?
something
Yeah.
to you guys were asking, and Dr. Harper actually put one out there. So we have those two locations, Daytona Beach and Mobile.
And Diane James said we need a location in Colorado and Nebraska. And Diane, just today, my partner Joe said he's got somebody he's looking at in Denver. It's what I got. Okay, so we're already 11 minutes over. So let me just explain to you new folks what's up here. Federal Injury Centers is a franchise. We're a franchise like McDonald's is a franchise. Okay, we follow all the same federal franchise laws that they do.
Yeah.
And what we can't do is put a gun to a doctor's head and say, join. Okay, this isn't good, fellas. And so the problem is they don't want it because they've heard, oh, it's federal. I don't want it. It's workers' comp. I don't want it. So it's really, really hard. And I'm a good, I don't want to say sales guy, but I want to explain what we do. And for the 60 that we got, we had 600 that said no.
Yeah.
But the 60 we got is 60 more than anybody else could get. So we're continuing to work on it. We just keep plugging away at it, even though we just get no. For us, that's you getting no. Like it's you getting no. And so we keep fighting. All right. And it sounds like, oh, it's political season. That's Chris being a political, no, whatever. Like we're just fighting for you. We're getting as many offices as we possibly can. And it's tough. And, we have to kick some folks out.
And yeah, that's the thing I was going to say.
Let me finish it. I'm sorry. Don't forget what you're saying. This is important.
I'm going to forget.
Well, then forget. We have to kick people out because I only give you the best. And when we bring someone on, because it's so hard to get them on, then we realize, oh, crap, I wish I would have brought them on. They got to go. Because now, we've got a list of doctors that are great. That I definitely don't want to kick out. So our locations list, right? Our locations tab will tell you where to go. You don't have to go. You, as a law, you have the right to initial selection of physician. You can go to your family doctor if you want. I don't recommend it, but you can. But we're working on it. And that all came from Colorado, Nebraska. We're trying. Oh my gosh, you have no idea. The stuff we're doing to try to double the number of offices, triple the number of offices.
Yeah. And a lot of you I know you've sent me numerous complaints that you've been going to some of our offices and they're not doing federal work comp. Unfortunately, they get into doing this and they go on for a year or two and all of a sudden they're just like, we don't want to do this anymore because they don't realize how hard it is. Or sometimes we have to remove offices because they're not following compliance issues and whatnot. So this is the reason it happens. We're sorry that those things happen, but it is what it is.
Yeah, when an office leaves, it sucks. And believe me, in fact, I was just talking to Joe today. I said, Joe, let's put in our contract to make it way more painful. If they charge them $50,000 if they want to leave, whatever it takes, because I don't want them leaving. You need them.
Yeah.
But some of these, I'm so Dr. Cooper. I'm so thankful for him. He just keeps coming.
Yeah.
And Dr. Harper in Alabama just keeps coming. Dr. Cox in Charlotte. Man, these guys are just killers. Dr. Hawkins in Calvert, just killers. And we're just looking for more killers, And so we're not going to stop. But if someone's not, they got to go.
The ones that stay, the ones that are actually been with us from day one, I mean, obviously they love what they do for you guys. They want to see you guys get better. It makes them feel great when you guys don't have to go through any financial issues, any mental health issues, and everything that comes with it. So if you get a message from us and we were like, okay, yeah, there's an office 8 hours away, you have to choose. And like what Maria said, the drive is better than getting your claim denied.
And you know what's interesting? Like in my head just now, I thought of 4 people. And if you know anybody like this, tell me about them. But I like competitive people. I want someone who just wants to fight. And 4 doctors came to mind for me. Dr. Cooper, who's here, he's a military man.
Yeah.
So
he's with it.
That's it. Like he raises military kids. Okay. Doc Cox is an Olympian. Hawkins in California, she was a college softball player.
Yeah.
And I say Dr. Harper, you know, I don't think he was ever an athlete, but that guy is like a world-class brain. He does what he does the smartest way possible and hates to lose.
Yeah.
Hates to lose. And, you know, we have a lot more people like that. And so you can trust our offices. And if I stop trusting them, they won't be here for you anymore.
I mean, we have over 60 doctors. Oh, well, no, not 60 doctors, but we have a handful
Offices.
of doctors, but the ones that are in it for the long haul, they're in it and they understand, and they're not gonna be leaving. But again, we apologize for the ones that just drop out. There isn't anything that we can do, and we're sorry, because we try to fill that spot immediately.
Like Dr. Zimmel in New Jersey, he went through some personal stuff. I'm not going to talk, but he went through some serious personal stuff, and he just came out of it crushing it.
He's
crushing it.
If anybody's in
New
York or New Jersey that you can get to, he's
where you
in
go.
Edison, New Jersey. He's great. I think he's gotten almost every claim accepted so far, and since he started, he's like amazing, and we've gotten amazing feedback on him. So again, sorry about the ones that when you're in the middle of your treatment and they tell you we're no longer going to see you. So we're going to do our best to try to fix that
and get better people in the future.
Alicia Farley, if you guys ever see Alicia at any of the BOP conventions and barbecues, Alicia represents Federal Injury Centers. She used to work for BOP, and she is a killer as well. Agree. Some docs don't care about the money, but still care about the postal workers.
Oh, Alicia's here. What's up, Alicia? You are a killer. I didn't know she was here, but damn, if you get to meet her, whatever she tells you to do, just do that.
All right. And then Gianna, you said, honestly, I just need someone to advise me on how to fill out the forms. Reoccurrence means something totally different to DOL than it does to me.
Yeah. So reoccurrence of DOL means you had an accepted claim and it came back after it was like resolved. But for us, not necessarily. Sometimes we look at it and go, well, is that the same injury? And Dr. Cooper said, he asked questions about it. Where are you at?
Yeah, Gianna, just go on our website, see what the closest location is, and you can call any of the offices and ask for the case manager. They will help you. They're not going to say, oh, we're not going to help you with your paperwork because you're not going to be a patient. They won't say that. So you're welcome to give them a call, any office. So,
all right, folks, that's it. For those of you that are new, we normally go an hour. We're an hour and 18 minutes tonight because we love you. And we got one more question. I'm going to go ahead and answer it. After my last denial almost a year ago, I gave up.
Aww.
Stop watching you and stop going to Dr. Harper. I've renewed hope tonight. No, don't stop going to Dr. Harper. No. Pat, go back.
Yeah, and I'm
go
glad
back.
You're back watching us again.
And not because it doesn't help me. Dr. Harper is the most prolific OWCP doctor in the history of the world. Go back, please.
Gianna, can you just message me privately after this? I will get this taken care of tonight.
Orlando's going to come back tomorrow.
Yes.
I guarantee it.
If it's not tonight, it's definitely tomorrow.
All right. So Frank, good night. And all the rest of you, good night. Thank you so much for being here. Follow us on the Breaking OWCP podcast with Chris and Gini. Wherever you like listening to podcasts, we're there. And come look at us and watch us and make fun of us, especially her. Everywhere that you like to watch social media on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
And we'll be back with you maybe next week if we're not 35,000 feet up in an airplane training some doctor to do the thing they do.
Oh, in Virginia, any doctors? We have
Only a lot.
That's the one state that has more offices than any other state. Go on our website. Again, if you're looking for locations, please go to www.federalinjurycenters.com. Click the red locations tab, scroll down, and you'll see every location that we have.
So if tonight it sounded like I was a little bit hard on the beef, I didn't mean to, except for supervisors. The rest of you, we love you. And we'll see you again next week, 8 p.m. Eastern time, Wednesday night, OWCP chats. Chris and Gini, see you later.
Bye, everybody.